All right. Am I live? Okay, I am live. All right. Let's do this, right? Going into the close here. Where we are on the arcade, the DA still. However, yeah, I missed that short at the top up there. I was trying to get short up there. I missed the opportunity, but again, I'm not in the business of chasing at this stage in the day. Oh well, it's all good. So, all right, we'll make the best of what we got. All right, let's see here. All right, are we? Let's see what I have here on the two. Okay, I see that there. I also need to go over here. And this YouTube stuff gonna be the end of me. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I'm still learning a lot of it. Uh, Welcome, family. If anybody's tuned in real quick, again, I didn't send out any invites and nothing like that to that regard. Just kind of doing like I did yesterday a little bit, just touching on the market a little bit, into the close here, seeing how things going to respond. We had a good rebound day off that news, day two of the tariffs, chronicles with Trump. So the market kind of opened up very aggressive actually off the jobs numbers. I don't know if you guys were able to catch that or not, but that was very promising. Obviously for the market value. We don't know who all really benefits from the numbers at the end of the day, but at the end of the day, it brought some life into the market. Obviously on the back end of that horrific, uncertainty that came on the back end of Trump and those tariffs. Kind of brokered that deal to kind of make it more pliable, and he kind of doubled down a little bit today, but he also opened up some leeway on that by offering the fact that he's willing to negotiate with China and other countries, outside of the USA on those particular tariffs in terms they can appeal, they can actually appeal the percentage value, right? So, it's more that kind of reality. Reality is trying to obviously get people to come to the table for some reason. Obviously, it could be a good business move. Obviously, I'm always going to be, neutral when it comes to good business practice. If you're trying to negotiate something in that regard, for whatever reason, then that could be something that's very notable in that regard. However, it's still him at the at the wheel, so to speak, and just one day up, one day down. Who knows? This guy's very bipolar in some value. So that's how it is, though. Again, so I just want to kind of open up the live stream, going to the close here. I want to invite you guys on the panel too, man. So we're gonna do an open mic a little bit here. These last 30 minutes going into the close here. So I'm definitely want to invite you guys onto the panel here. So I see Brother Sean, you already in here. All right, welcome over. Welcome over, as we do. Welcome over to the panel, to the live stream. Anybody else that's in, if you haven't, typed in the back chat, if you're there watching, I definitely appreciate you guys for, checking in with your brother. Just kind of going into the close here, watching the market, doing like I did yesterday a little bit. I want to get in the habit of kind of being a little bit more, liberal in how I'm watching the market, as we go, especially for the guys that's in my intro to investing workshop, as we kind of, progress into that next phase of touching these platforms, going through the analytical breakdowns from the technical to the fundamentals to the whole overall aspect of learning the ins and outs and the little nuances of the market. So again, we're going to have a lot more, hands-on interactive value, within that level of, building together. So excited to be here again. I didn't put out any kind of special press release. So forgive me, guys. I don't figure myself that important anyway. But, I did open up the live stream just again, like I said, to kind of go on and speak about, obviously, our scenario as far as the rescheduling for the session for this weekend per se. See if we can kind of get some open votes. Welcome to the panel, Miss Iyabo Monica. As we do, we got the cross thing going. For those who really know what that really means, coming out of Kemet. Welcome, Iyabo. Welcome, Iyabo. Like I said, I want to open up the panel. So I'm gonna invite you guys on the panel. Like I said, we're gonna open discussion this thing a little bit, going to the close. We got like 30 minutes before the market closed. Before I have to get out of here, I was gonna go get the little guy. So, you guys know how that go. So let me add some of you guys to the panel here. For any of you guys that want to jump on, I'm just gonna add you, whether you speak or don't. But again, we want to get in the habit of being, interact with one another, because obviously we are about to go to that next level in terms of the training, where we're going to have to be very hands-on and interact with one another in terms of what we see, how we value in the market and so forth on. So definitely, if you want to come on the panel, I'm definitely want to open the mic to you, because you may have some questions and things, and I might can help with the answer here and there. And obviously we don't watch this market into the close, right? Get some real time, what they call OJT, right? For some of you guys that came out of school in the 90s and the 80s, early 90s, I should say. We had a thing called OJT. I don't know if they even talk about that kind of stuff today, right? On the job training, as you want to call that. But in our mentality, we're not jobbers, right? We're entrepreneurs, so it's like pretty much on the journey training, if that makes sense, guys. On the journey training, we on our journey with this training value, right? So I'm gonna coin that real quick. So we're gonna coin that thing OJT, not on the job training, but on the journey training, right? Make this thing personal. We like to personalize everything we do, because we're not like the average people. We're super phenomenal beings in a lot of ways. So I love that. I love it. Welcome to the panel, Kiana, Sister Kiana, Iyabo Kiana. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm gonna add you to the panel too. We can just load up the panel here. For you guys that want to jump on, send you the invites for Google Hangout. Like I said, we're just gonna open up the mic going into the close here, to the bell. I have to get out of here, around 4 to go get the little guy. So I'm definitely gonna open up the panel. So if you guys want to jump on, again, just kind of get on the panel. Small little intimate thing. We won't have hundreds of people on here like some of the other YouTube shows like some of you guys are in. But again, we're family here. So anybody, you're welcome to come on and kind of give your feedback, what you kind of witnessed today in the market at some aspect. If you heard anything about current events going around the world, global or even local, that you want to speak about, we may can kind of correlate that to the market and see how, the market responded from that. Again, these are things that we have to pay attention to on average, because again, this is a part of our craft, right? Again, we got other skill sets and different talents and whatever the case, but this also is another part of our life and our reality now as investors and traders, right, so to speak. So again, man, I'm having a phenomenal day. I just looked over here and looked at my little P&L. I got hemmed up early because I had not necessarily call it an emergency scenario, but I had some attention like very, very fast, and it took me outside my home. We had some people out there that does the I guess landscape, whatever the case. I was in the middle of some trades, guys, trust me. And I left my doggone recycling bin out there, because they do recycling, in my neighborhood here. My little, I guess, cul-de-sac, on Fridays, and so my pails were out there turned over, and the guy was out there. I was like, I don't know if he was trying to steal my pails or what, but he was trying to move them out of the way to kind of I guess kind of look at the land value to kind of see if I may want to partake in this service or whatnot. So I had to jump up from my trading, and go run out there. And I didn't set no stop loss in that. So I had one trade I was in, like very, very, finicky type trade, where I was like, itemizing the way I was trying to scalp it quick. And I came back, man, that thing was down like near like what, $1,700-$1,800. I was up literally about $200-$300 before I jumped up and ran off. Then it spiked, we know how the market is. You turn on the dime, like I always say, guys. That thing spiked down and went down to like $1,700-$1,800. And I was like, uh-oh. So at that point, I couldn't chart it enough to kind of bring it back. So I had to take that little loss. But either way, that's part of the game. Oh, welcome to the panel, brother. Oh, who's that? Over Gordon. All right, welcome, family. Welcome. Right. I want to add you guys to the panel too. So, like I said, if you want to jump on and speak a little bit here, I'm sending out the invite from the Google Hangouts. I don't know if you guys got time or not, because I know you're busy, you got other stuff going on. But either way, I'm gonna send it to you anyway. So if you definitely want to jump on the panel here, you're welcome. I'm just gonna add you guys to the Google Hangout. Yeah. So the market was pretty awesome. I was in terms of the jobs number. I don't know if you guys caught those job numbers. I think they came in somewhat pretty malign a little bit to the the expectations, so to speak. Because there's still a lot of I guess I should say uncertainty still left in terms of the market. So with that, you have news concerning like jobs numbers and all these different things that still kind of take away the luster of the market, the luster, I should say, obviously of the market. And then you have a little bit of kind of ambiguity, as I always say, in terms of investor sentiment. So right now, like I said, I got some trades going on. that are just killing it. Matter of fact, let me share my screen here because that's what this is all about. Going into the close here, we're going through the day here, but I'm gonna show you my big loss too. Once again, you can and will lose money in this market, and you're not able to pay attention. And in my case, in my defense, obviously, it was only because I got up and ran away from my desk to go handle that business. Thought the guy was trying to steal my little recycling pills. It was just a recycling pill, but they mine, right? So whatever. But that's just part of the day. All right. So then once again, this is my little market analysis account here that I'm showing you guys here how I get engaged in market, how I traded under that auspice to kind of get a chance to fill out the the technical and the fundamental values of how the market moves as a whole. So I trade under that mentality. Like I said, did pretty well on the other little accounts, whatever the case, and accounts. Obviously, I trade multiple accounts a day, but today, like I said, going to the close here, it was just awesome. Let me see if I can pull this out of the way, because if not, it's going to be all over the place, I think. Let me see here. So you guys welcome to come on the panel again. So you might want to come on and add a little something to the sauce. And they say secret sauce. Add something to the secret sauce. All right. So let me share my little screen here. Since we got a few minutes before we go into the close here, so you guys can kind of see where I'm at here. All right, so big trade here. I took a big trade here. You guys can see it up here, and it's paying off. But again, you see right here my big loss on that one that got away from it. I don't even want to speak about it because but that's part of the market. I took it big, and it kind of burnt me because I was up, like I say, and then I jumped up and ran away, and I came back, and man, woo woo woo, as they say, woo 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 woo. It was lights out a little bit, and I was trying to see if I can get some recovery on. I was trying to chart it and play some technical value to it. And I was like, you know what, it's well. So I actually went down, like I say, near $17, $18, and I had another loss I had this morning for like a couple $100, whatever. As you see here, my loss now, realized loss also was like 2,000, whatever. But you see right here, this is where your brother come back. So you just can't count me out. Don't count me out, right? So I was up like 600-700, then I went down, right? Then I came up another stock I had, and this thing I balanced out with after I got that bad loss. Obviously, I came back where I caught Z-Sun, right? Y'all know I talked about the stock yesterday. I wrote it up. I'm actually still in it long in one of my accounts. I'm running my Robinhoods, because I'm in it for the long haul in this one here, because I make good money off it already. Going to the upside from $8 entry. I had $8 entry out and an average of the 1060, excuse me. And I wrote that thing. I went to like 25, 24. Took a little bit off. Right, left a little bit in there. Spiked back up again this morning, opened up a little bit green, started up again near 23. Obviously couldn't breach that 24 to hit that top, hit that high day like it did yesterday, or retest that. That showed me, okay, well, there's some weakness there. So obviously at this point, let me play it smart here. So what I did, I took a little bit more extra profit off the table. Now I got, I think, like near I don't think it's like a lot of shares left in it from my 1060 average, but it's a good average, right? That 1060. So in the event that they still have a price target on this asset at $80, right? So they're saying by years in, it could possibly definitely be up around the $80 range. So in that regard, once again, it's no rush, no worries on my part in terms of me feeling like I just gotta pull up out the position and whatnot. So to that regard, being in that that low, and also I already have taken some profit off the table, made some money off this trade. That's the best thing about in terms of investing. You have a good trade, you necessarily don't have to take all your position off the table in that moment. You can, always, that's your choice. But if you think there's more upside, to that particular trade or that asset, then definitely, by all means, take a partial of it. Obviously, I move in the third range off, level threes. So I may take 2/3 off the table and leave a third in there, right? Third of the shares left in there, especially if my average is pretty decent, again, like I spoke about. So, for me, this was just a no-brainer in that regard, having to kind of take, that value of profit off the table and still being in at that price, and obviously today it's just getting beat up because that's what's happening. The stock was super extended over the last, literally, like, it's been running for over the past like 3 or 4 days. I actually ran some last week too, so it's really kind of been up and down, but up more or less than down over the past week and change. So this is a scenario, once again, it's very extended on the day. This stock actually is supposed to have its earnings. They're supposed to have their earnings actually 2 or 3 different days from yesterday, and they did not do it. So they kept pushing the earnings back. So that leaves a lot of kind of uncertainty in the minds of investors and traders too as well, because like everybody's waiting on their earnings report, right? We know recently they just did a reverse split. It was like 1 for 20, right? They upped the shares a little bit in terms of price point, but they also lowered their their float value, which obviously made the shares more scarce, right? Which caused it to be running so erratic to the upside like it's been doing lately, right? It's very, very little, tiny little float, right? And then again, with that $80 price target that I think it was Zach's market analyst that gave them that price target. I think a few other people kind of gave it a good buy rating, right? It has people once again very bullish about that. But again, the coup d'etat or the icing on the cake would have been if they did the earnings yesterday. They came out and did the earnings report. That would have been phenomenal, right? Because that thing would have been beasting, right? In terms of it had decent numbers, right? On top of that, we saw it spike up and hit 25 yesterday, right? It came from like 13 to 14, somewhere around there, and went up to 25 yesterday, right? Like I said, I've been in since $8. Averaged in a little bit more. Now I'm gonna average like 1060, right? So I've been eating off of it pretty well. Like I said, I have a few shares left, and as you see, I'm still dumping a little bit. I'm shorting it now. Obviously, you can tell I'm short selling. That's why you see that downtrend. But you know what I mean? We can make money going up. We make money going down. So y'all know the famous slogan, right? Right? Bulls make money, bears make money, and pigs get what? Barbecue, roasted, plum. Slaughtered, basically. And I don't even touch that pork anyway. Anybody else shouldn't touch it either. But anyway, that's just me. All right. But anyway, yeah. So obviously, that's a big trade here, guys. Very big trade here, right? As you can see here, my average, I had an average of like $20.10. And then when it pulled back to here to $18 again, I added 1,000 more shares to my short, which brings my average now to like 19, I think it's like 1975 or somewhere around there. You see right here, my sell average price value. When I bought into it again, that lowered my price. It was like somewhere around there. I forgot the price. But anyway, my average like 1975. So right now, big trade, guys. This is like near a $7,000 trade, literally. And I got this trade around this mark right here, guys. So we talking about, right near 2 o'clock. So from 2 o'clock to right now, literally 2 o'clock to what, 3:42, what we talking about here? That's basically about an hour and 42 minutes, right? That's like $7,000, right? I have to have a moment of silence so you guys can see the value and why we do this. Why it's important that we learn this, regardless if we do it, we take the trade or we don't, or we whatever. I mean, you're talking about a $7,000 trade, literally. Obviously, I'd be up a lot more than that. I hadn't took that loss early here, as you see here from that one trade. But again, that's a part of the market. That's part of the game, right? As I say, you got to have your psychology on. You got to be undistracted when it matters most, especially if you're in the thick of a real big trade. It matters, right? It does matter, right? So again, having that that ability to be focused, locked in, have your mind right, and all that kind of stuff like that. And just kind of just riding the wave at this point, right? So again, beautiful trade here. Like I said, this thing is definitely going to go down under. If it breaches $16 here before the market close, that's going to be ugly, right? It probably rebound a little bit after hours because people going to see this as a discount buy, because guess what? There are people that's been buying this stock well, what, $18, $19, and they're buying it to the upside more or less, not short selling. You got some people bought in at 20 and 22, 23, all the way up there when it was up there in 25, because they saw, like everybody else saw, like, okay, well, this might be a continuation here. Right, maybe some more upside with this stock here, so I'm gonna buy in for the long side because they like that price target too, right? Someone speaking? Someone's on the panel. I can't even see right now because I got this Google Hangout thing on. Is someone on the panel with me?
Yeah.
You breaking up, family?
Come on.
All right, let me go to the panel, make sure, guys. All right, who's my family here? Is this brother Sean?
Yeah, that's me, bro. I'm in the house.
Welcome to the panel, family. Great. This is what I like. I want you guys to come on and interact. It's awesome. Welcome to the panel, family. Can you hear me? Okay, you can hear me. Okay, yeah, I see you driving, so I know you got your focus on too. So, all right, I don't want to kind of interact with you too much and kind of you handling business. So I see, but yeah. So again, so if you ever to kind of able to kind of see what's going on here in terms of this, what we're talking about going to the close. We're watching the SPY here. We saw the SPY, was pretty much beat up throughout the week, a lot actually. And, with that, once again, that kind of level of uncertainty, because y'all know I always kind of watch the SPY, the SPY, Standard & Poor's 500 of some of the most biggest, companies in the country here. That kind of gives you a good litmus test of how the market kind of reacts from day in and day out. They had a very bullish day off, to the upside, just been, phenomenal. It's been tearing up the upside there. And, with that, the Qs as well, financial values of the Q market, the Q sectors as well, in terms of the NASDAQ values and stuff like that. So, you know, again, it was a great day for some of these stocks to rebound that were, you know, highly just beat up, right? And you know, use some of the bigger cap stocks as well. You know, obviously McDonald's, JD. Obviously, I'm shorting JD now. I had wrote this long earlier. I think it was like yesterday or the day before, like that. And you know, now I'm shorting into a little bit, not necessarily major. I took my short around near 45, 60, which is the VWAP line. Y'all know I like the short from the VWAP. That's pretty much that gun line. That's the litmus test. If it breaks below that, then you might be in favor to kind of get some more downside. Obviously, if you're trying it properly, if it breaks above that and holds more than 2 or 3 candles, green candles, it may push higher. That's when you probably take it long, right, for a scalp or whatever the case. So these are just some of the little small little learning mechanisms and things that you will learn in terms of your technical value evaluations when you're looking at these charts and so forth. So, you know, we'll learn that stuff for you guys. That's obviously in terms of the investing workshop, how to kind of gauge, you know, the market from looking at those different little indicators and, you know, things like that we watch, the oscillators and RSIs and MACDs and stochastics and all these different little, you know, things you can watch the market with. So again, just want to share until the close here what's happening here. Again, so we broke through $16 here. So ZSUN broke through the $16 mark here. Very big trade here, guys. Awesome big trade. As you see here, now up $7,640, going on 8,000 here. The way that this thing is going, because right now, basically, whole dollar marks pretty much are what they call, you know, a very, you know, tight support and resistance levels. Meaning if you could break or breach a whole dollar mark, even number, and go under that, above that, that means that's a psychological, you know, edge or barrier. And typically when that happens, that spooks investors, or it empowers investors, right? So we're sitting there waiting for that $16 area, like I was talking about. So if it breaks that there, we may have some more downside push. And lo and behold, it broke under these 16 bucks, right? So here we are now, you know, trading like 15.94, somewhere around there, which is obviously at this point now, you know, some of those sellers that or buyers that bought in at that area there, they're probably running for the door now, right? I mean, at this point, the bears are, you know, pretty much got control of this asset here. They're pushing it down. People taking profit. There we go, big drop. See, it dropped literally like 30, 40 cents in one move. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Literally, when you have a split second or a nanosecond, a stock can pull back like 30, 40 cents. And that obviously in terms of your share count value, that's 30, 40 cents a share, right? That you picked up in a nanosecond, right? Again, if you were short at the $16 mark there, when you kind of spoke about that, you took your short there, right? And it flashed down to like, you know, 1563, 1562 as you saw right there. That's 40 cents a share. Let's say you came in, you know, Obashan, you just say, I'm gonna take my scalp here. You know, I'm watching Brother Africa reporting him. I see what's going on here. The stock is downtrending. It's obvious weak. It's showing a lot of weakness here, right? I'm gonna scalp this thing a little bit here, see if I can make me a little profit on the road here on the way out, right? So you take a short at $16, right? You say you take out, let's say 1,000 shares short, right? Or, you know, obviously that's $16,000. So we'll just say 100 shares, 100 shares short, right? Which puts you around like $1,600 some dollars, right? And it drops, you know, like 30, 40 cents. Right, so 100 shares, you know, obviously times that value of what 30 cents, right? You can do the math on that, right? You just picked up that kind of money real quick in that pretty much seconds. So that might have been gas money. That might have been, you know, lunch money or dinner money. All right, you pick that up in literally once again a nano, 2 or 3 seconds in terms of that little dump. You know, a minute at most if you want to put a minute on it. So again, when I break this stuff down like this, I want you guys to see the relevancy in terms of how, you know, liquid we are in terms of as investors and traders, in terms of the opportunity that can come our way, right? We're not talking about riding the clock, watching the paint dry, sitting at somebody's job, you know, whatever the case. Y'all get my point. You know, those things are helpful. They help us get by, but ultimately in the end, you know, we're much, you know, more important and bigger than those mentalities and realities in terms of just being somebody else's still step and fetch, so to speak. You know, again, not nothing about the job. We all been there, right? I had plenty myself, but again, I do know that we're much better than what we are, you know, positioned to, you know, to accept in terms of our worth value, right? We don't put these little minuscule, you know, valuation on our lives for $20 or $30, you know, valuation when we're worth way more than that, right? If they get you every single day for 8, 9 hours, the greatness of you and everything that makes you wonderful, you work way more than the little, you know, peanuts they're throwing at you. You slave wages. All right, so right here, watch what's interesting right here. Watch what's going on here, guys. You see how the market retraced it here? You see a spiked up right here? So bounce off right here, bounce off this level of support right here, and spiked up. That means obviously in that moment, you know, that, you know, the market is what rebounded a little bit. So we call it like a little bounce, right? They would consider like a dead cat bounce, and it spiked back up, you know, on the SPY side of the house, you know, literally about, you know, me see, we're talking what from 2810 to like 2710 to like 2730, right? So in terms of the overall market, those 30, 40 cents you see right there is like big money in terms of the overall market value, if that makes sense, right? From a concentrated effort. So as you see, these other stocks spiked off that too, like JD did. You saw right here with Z-Sun as well, it spiked up as well, right? So this is how important, once again, you always watch the SPY or keep a chart of the SPY somewhere near you, so in the event the market turns for any direction, you can kind of be prepared, in terms of your position. Sometimes it doesn't affect most stocks, sometimes it does, right? But typically small cap stocks, they have a mind of their own. You just got to know what you're doing when it comes to small cap, because they typically run when the market is down and beat up. Small caps come to this trade like penny stock, they're just running on their own mentality. They don't care about the overall market. They don't care about Trump. They don't care about none of that, because these are people that's buying these stocks at penny price. Obviously very liquid in terms of the the ability that it can move, especially if they have low floats, and people just buying it for a feeder frenzy more or less, and it just being good news or whatever. So very interesting watching SPY this dead cat bounce right here. It spiked up, and obviously you saw JD spike up too, right? So again, that's why I love this opportunity in the market, because it just shows us that in any given moment, like I said, you could be up certain amount of money, you could be down the same, right? But again, you just got to know when to be on your game and take that profit off the table, right? When you need it, more or less. So you scalp it. That's why you don't fall in love with these stocks, right? Unless you invest in long term, because in any given moment the market can turn on you. Meaning there's people out there that may see value in the market and when you may not. So in that moment, that don't necessarily make it bad to start reversing. It's just that you got to be on top of your game, so you don't get caught out there holding the bag, right? The goal is to secure the bag, not hold the bag, right? Securing the bag and holding the bag is two different things. Holding the bag, meaning you just holding somebody else debt, and they took the product on the table. Now you got to hold that bag, and somebody come along, you can pass out to them. When you secure the bag, that means you secured the kitty or the pot. Some of you guys are playing bid whiz, right? You done secured that pot, right? So now you winning, you rolling a little bit in the money. So again, just watching that was very interesting. How the SPY did a dead cat bouncing and just spiked back up. So I had to retrace that whole level that it sold off of. Interesting. Watch that. I mean, it literally, sold off from here, right at that 2750 area, pull back all the way to 2710, dang near 50 cents, and then retrace that back in one big bullish candle. I mean, that's one big bullish candle here in terms of the value. I think this is the 5-minute chart here. Yeah, this is the 5-minute on this particular one. So if in a 5-minute candle interval, meaning within 5 minutes, this is the movement of this stock. So within 5 minutes, you retrace like 50 cents. So again, when you break that down into numerical value, if you was trading this particular asset here, obviously, obviously a big price behemoth in it, but still, let's say you had 100 shares of the SPY, right, at 278, right? We talking about what? That's $27,000 $27,000 trade, right? So you got 1,000 shares, 100 shares, right? And that 50 cents, right? 50 cents times 100 shares, you to make that a little bit of profit. But again, you scalping it for what? Peanuts, right? Obviously, you want to play a lower flow stock, you get more bang for your buck. But again, I'm just showing you the parameters of how that will be in terms of a stock turn on you that quick and down the reverse, right? And you kind of benefit from that profit back. So it's interesting watching that. So it's awesome. All right. So again, but that's just the market. That's why I love this stuff. So again, just touching on that. So again, have you any questions, Brother Sean? Since you're on the panel, I know you always say you're driving and watching. So let me ask.
Oh yeah, I'm watching and driving, but I do got a question.
Yeah, go ahead, family.
What happened to the class last night? I missed it or rescheduled?
Oh no, you didn't. Actually, you must have then probably get the because you're not in the Facebook group, are you? Are you?
No, I don't have Facebook, bro. No.
That's what it was. You okay? My mistake, fam. I thought. Because we know, brother, I think it was Brother Al I think Al and Axe, they ended up getting in there because I think they didn't have it. So I wasn't sure if there was like, 1 or 2 people that still wasn't in the group. So it was you. So my mistake on that. So I went into the Facebook group and kind of gave the alert. Obviously, yes. I don't know. Well, I'll just explain it to you real quick. All right. My EEBO is away on business, on government business for the month. So I got my little man for the, pretty much for the rest of the month. Just me and him. So what happened was the Thursday scenario, I was trying to play it by ear in terms of how he would be able to react, and it kind of conflicted with my time restraint. I was just being the first week that she's been away, so I'm trying to get that balance so I can be able to take care of him and find a good time so we can still run the investment workshops. So what I did a live stream yesterday. I think it's around about 2 or 3 o'clock, like same way we're doing now, and kind of explaining to everybody that was able to catch it. I didn't send out no special advice in terms of email. Just like jumped on and say, well, hey, in the event somebody just scroll by the page, they'll see that I did a live stream, kind of speak about the investment workshop for that night. So basically, what we did, we're going to reschedule it. Just to make a long story short. So yesterday was just a conflict time where I wasn't able to do it because my hands were full with my little guy. And actually was a little bit needy. He ended up getting a little sick, turning his stomach. So I had to kind of tend to that. That just pushed me all out of whack. But we're going to reschedule it for either for right now. We did a vote between Saturday and Sunday. I think for the most part, everybody's thinking like Sunday. Again, you still have input in that, So however if you got some ideas in terms of how you want to do that, then let me know. Either way, if I do it live.
Yeah.
Say again, family.
Yeah, I'm good either way. Saturday, Sunday, it doesn't matter to me.
You can use Sunday, because I think for the most part, I think that's the consensus. Most people then kind of went with as far as Sunday. I think then we just got to come up with a time. So between now and Saturday, we just need to come up with a time, right, for everybody that can potentially catch it. You know what I'm saying? And then from there, we'll go forward and kind of do that session. And
just let me know. Remember, I don't have a Facebook, so y'all, you gotta hit me the email or whatever,
I got you, brother. Because I knew. I thought it was Al at first. I think I spoke to Al. It was one of them. They said they didn't have it. So I was like, okay, well, I think we got everybody, that has a Facebook now locked into the group, right? Because we just been adding people as we can too, or just hooking up with them. So I was under the pressure. I was like, I think we got everybody. I said, I think we got everybody in the group so far, right? At this point, if I'm not mistaken, if there's one or two, then obviously I do like always just email. And since I didn't get a chance to even send out a blast email concerning even the time, obviously change in that regard, that was obviously in the case where you didn't probably get it as well, or find out what was going on, because I'm thinking everybody was in the group or might have seen the Facebook post, the YouTube post that I did, the live stream. So again, we'll get you hooked up so in the future you won't have to worry about that. And if something like this happens, obviously, you'll be kind of well aware of what's going on as well, family. So again, definitely appreciate your patience on that too. So also outside of that, how's your day? I'm sorry.
I missed last week, brother, but I caught the replay that night.
Okay. Yes.
I got caught somewhere. I didn't have it. Listening to it that morning.
Right.
And you were speaking, black folks spinning their Cadillacs. Man, you had me rolling. I said, man, I wonder where this brother from. You got to be from down south talking about boosters and Cadillacs.
Yeah, man. Born in Florida, actually. So northern Florida is the home area. Tallahassee, to be exact. Obviously my family all throughout Florida, South and Central and Northern. Grew up in that, that so-called that area. As I always say, y'all born there by way of Africa, though. Y'all know how I am.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Another question, man. I definitely want to learn how to do the day trading, but as you can see, I'm a trucker, right? And I don't know how feasible that's be. I think it'd probably be more feasible for me to, I guess, learn to swing trade, or is it feasible for me to do day trading and at the same time, drive? I don't think that's feasible for what I'm understanding. Or you tell me.
Right. Well, it's all about, once again, availability. As you always hear me say, timing is everything, right? Interest is everything too, because obviously the market in any given moment depends on where you come into it. It can be giving or it can be taken. Depends on what side of the trade you're on, if you particularly even take a trade. But one thing, because I know brothers that trade that are truckers too. So it'd be great to link you with some of those guys, and they're like super successful. One of my friends that's in one of the Discord rooms, he's actually a trucker, and I think he's in the Louisiana area, if I'm not mistaken. And so he trades a lot of the options market and the futures market, right? And he also does swing trades. Right, so obviously in moments when he's able to do a day trade, let's say he may be at a stock rest, whatever, and maybe at some point he's there for like an hour or so, and he's still going to the market when the market hours, he's still able to capitalize on a trade here and there. Obviously, he's kind of rehearsing up to know what to look for, what he's looking to kind of get out of the market for that moment, in terms of just knowing the overall aspect of the market, having scanners and things of that nature to help him kind of visualize the market, whatever the case. So in that regard, there's ways you can still do it to be successful at it. Right, so it'll be great.
Okay.
Yeah, I better link you with that brother too.
Yeah, please do that, because I work for myself, so I can pull over and stop, and I can take off when I want. Now on my own truck, but I just was thought that I need to watch it and be paying attention for amount of hours or whatever. I wasn't sure about that.
Right. And like I said, it's all about attention value in terms of what you're able to kind of focus in on, like I say, doing any given moment, doing that particular moment, right? So again, you got 20 minutes. Let's say you took a swing trade, and let's say you took that swing trade before you got on the road. Let's say you got up, had a low, you up and moving like by 8 o'clock, like by 9 o'clock, right? The pre-market is at, from 6, well, actually 4 to 9:30, but let's say you had the ability to buy in pre-market at 9 o'clock, right? Before you got your hands really busy. And you might have, let's say the day before, you saw a particular, a couple of stocks that may kind of show some interest to, that may have a continuation move, or they might have had news early that morning. Let's say at 7 o'clock they drop news, right? You want to check the technical value, check the fundamentals, say, well, okay, hey, here's the opportunity where I make a swing in this trade, because this is the first red day. The stock might have been red, let's say about 3 or 4 days, consecutive in a row before this news drop, right? That means the stock been heavily beat up. It's been oversold. A lot of people that sold off the stock, it's kind of left for dead, so to speak, right? In some cases, you take that position, right, in lieu of that it's so oversold on the RSI, meaning it's been sitting down at the lowest point where nobody really wants it anymore, to the point where they're not buying it, basically what I'm saying, in liquid value. And this news always brought in a breath of fresh air. Now we got buyers coming back in, right? You take a position, let's say we'll do a whole dollar mark, let's say $1, the stock straight at $1. And okay, your target goal may just be let's say we do the 3% rule. You always hear me talk about my 3% rule. Kind of get you to getting consistent wins. And let's say you buy 1,000 shares, right, at $1, right? 3% of that is just $30, right? Don't seem like a lot, but it's it's $30, right? And it's necessarily seem like it comes with a whole lot of how can I use this? Overinflated value in terms of saying, okay, well, the stock will run 100% or whatever the case. If you look at the market as a whole, in some cases, if you just, in the right place at the right time, and some of these stocks that we know that has good favorability in terms of the technical value, it shouldn't be that hard to get 3%. You see what I'm saying? As opposed to people that's always trying to swing for the fence, right? They want 30% one day. They're looking for 50% in one day, or sometimes 100%, right? So with that, sometimes you have too many unrealistic expectations, and you find yourself, you'll get up above that 3% or even probably 10%, right? And you want to lock in that profit, or you want to set a trail stop at that money, meaning to trail your money at that point. Anything above that particular limit there is what they call extra, right? So you just say you did a trail stop at that 10% mark, which is $1, pretty much $1.10, right? At that moment, you hit $1.10 from $1. Now you already up 10 cents a share at 1,000 shares. That's $100, right? You lock in that profit, or you can say, well, depending on how many shares you got, you can do what they call take a partial. Meaning you'll take some of those shares off that 1,000. Let's say you took, 500 off that, right? You took 500 shares off the table. That means you locked in $50. You see what I'm saying? In that moment, and you left the other 500 in there to kind of let it do its thing. That way you don't have to necessarily just worry about it. Because if anything, worst case scenario is if you set your stop loss at let's say 99 cents, which is like very tight stop loss. In the event that the stock reversed on you and you got busy, right, in the middle of something, on the road, whatever the case, and you weren't able to monitor it, worst case scenario is that right? You'll just break even. You see what I'm saying? Because you're still locked in $50. See what I'm saying? So it's ways you can do it, and you still could be successful at still being able to kind of handle the on the road value, and also being able to kind of catch a good swing trade. Because at the end of the day, let's say you hold the stock for 2 or 3 days anyway on the news because you bought in early. The news just dropped. The stock didn't beat up. You got 2 or 3 days to sit in it at most, right? A swing trade obviously constitutes anything more than 2 or 3 days, holding the stock based overnight. So the next day, let's say you held the stock throughout the whole day. The stock ran, let's say hypothetically, like 27%, 25%, right? Let's say it went as high as like 30-some%, but it ended up around 25 when it closed out on the day, right? In that moment, you're already up $250. See what I'm saying? In that regard. So you jumped up and earned 25%. Even though you were looking for only 3%. You see what I'm saying? As a bare minimum. So you kept your realistic expectations in play, meaning your goals that you were looking to get out of the market, which is $30, turned into $250, right? So everything above $30 is gravy, or as I call it, plus tax, or I call it ancestor, that extra ancestor libation money, right? They owe you that anyway, right? Y'all know my mentality. Anytime I take money away from the market, I say this one here for the ancestor. I don't care if it's a penny. I always say this one here for the ancestor. It keeps me motivated in a lot of ways. So for me, again, it's just ways that you learn how to scale your trading in a way where you can still benefit from that moment. You heard me speak about I had this bad issue when the guy was out there moving my little recycle pails, right? In that split second moment, I did the unthinkable. I didn't set my stop loss because I was watching the trade real time. I was focused, right? So it was kind of, it would be like in your case, in your moment, right? You took the trade, you was able to watch it, and someone called you, say, "Hey, brother Sean, we need you to come outside. Somebody near your rig real fast, right? You might have been in, at a rest stop somewhere, and you got your trading step up and running. You got to really go what? You're gonna go run, take care of your truck real quick, right? So you're not thinking about, oh, let me set my stop loss. Sometimes that could happen, but again, in those moments, you want to kind of, make sure that if you can, set you some fail-safe mechanisms in place in the event that something can go wrong. But in most cases, again, when you just kind of focus and you got attention, locked into that trade, you're not thinking about that if you were able to do it right in real time, because you're not thinking you're gonna have a distraction, so to speak. If that makes sense a little bit. So, but again, you're just always want to put yourself in a scenario where you're going to be protected if it need be. Right? Especially, and you're still learning how to day trade or swing trade or just trade as a whole, and understand how the different, finicky values of how the market is anyway, because, again, up 1 minute, down the next, right? Literally a split second. But 2 or 3 days and you swing traded, you're not going to panic. You see what I'm saying? So if the stock spikes up and it pulls back, and as long as it don't hit your stop loss area, then you're not going to panic anyway, right? Because your goal is what? You're going to hold for what? A swing trade anyway, because at the end of the day, you had a realistic goal of what? 3%. Right? Obviously, you can set your goals higher, but I'm using it as a, as a barrier, as a mean in terms of how to, get you guys excited about those.
And right. So when you say set the stop loss, right? So that keeps you from losing no more than that amount. Right. Right. Okay. So this one, I'm brand new, so you gotta.
I got you, but that's why we got the workshops. So these little moments like this are what gravy moments, right? I'm gonna give you heads up like 10 minutes. I got to read my little guy from the daycare. I was supposed to end it 4, but no, I want to answer your question. No, go ahead. I got time. I got a little time because it's Friday. I can, it's well.
Okay, so what happens in an event? Or I thought I heard you mention. Let's say if I'm up on a stock and I want to sell, but what if no one's buying? How does that? Does someone always buy when you want to sell, or if you set a stop?
Yeah, typically in most cases, because once again, if you're in a stock that's very liquid, meaning it's a lot of volume in there, abnormal volume. Once again, we're talking about that stock, right? We set the premise of an example where the stock may beat up for like 2 or 3 days, right? Meaning it's been highly oversold, meaning it don't even have a lot of buyers. It don't have anybody that's really want to sell. It's more like a stalemate, so to speak, right? So anytime you reach a stock or an asset that's in a stalemate scenario, pretty much that means the stock is just going sideways pretty much all day. It's like watching the paint dry. One of those type scenario, right? Not enough volume in there, not enough buying or selling. So, no one is pretty much interested in the stock, right? So in that moment, it could be hard to sell a particular stock at a certain price, because now you're dealing with the bid and the ask, right? The spread, so to speak, right? Meaning what people really want to sell for and what people really want to buy for, right? Like going to the store, you want to get at a discount, right? You don't want to buy at a premium price if you can get at a much lower price. So in that moment, and let's say that stock, the item that you bought out the grocery store might have been moving throughout the week. Everybody, new Cheetos and came out, right? It's been flying off the shelves, for like 2 or 3 weeks in a row, right? As soon as the product kind of get old, everybody they're done with it, right? The buying dries up. Now you got the shelf just kind of just sitting there, right? Ain't nothing really coming in. They can't restock it. They can't necessarily ain't nobody really buying, so to speak. So I'm saying, so it's at a stalemate. So in that moment, what you would do, in terms of, if a new chip comes out, let's say in the same way we talk about news, when news drop, that's like getting a new bringing new investors back to your asset, bringing more attention back to your stock, so to speak. Now you're saying, hey, I'm going to take this trade here, right? With this news here, the stock been beat up for the last 2 or 3 days. The RSI is like very low. It's probably sitting at like a 20 or 30 on the RSI. I mean, the relative side of the index, and we're going to break all that stuff down, all in due time. And then you say, well, if I get in here at $1, it's sitting at $1 now, and they're talking about, we have, listen to a little bit of the analysts and what's going on in terms of the chart value. You go back and see the support resistance level and see where the stock may have had, some value of resistance at a certain level, let's say $1.15, $1.20, right? As it might have hit that peak, let's say maybe like, 3 or 4 months ago, but since then it pulled back, right? So now it got new buyers coming in. So we have a objective goal that we're trying to hit, that $1.15 and nothing else. I mean, if the bulls can kind of come in and buy it up enough, we can get that 15-cent value right back into the stock and turn the way it was before. What do you call it? Filling that little area of a sell-off, or some people call it a gap fill, so to speak, right? Just kind of buying up where it was before it was sold off, if that makes sense. So what you would do, again, you would say, well, right, I'm gonna be on the road. The stock may jump up and run it in the first 5 minutes, it may not. Who knows? But in the day, I just want to get, once again, 3% out of the stock. I just use that as a very basic terminology. Once again, you can set your parameters higher, and you set your parameter at a 3% value, right? You set your stop loss. You want to do a tight stop loss. You don't even want to mess around. So the stop pulls back on you. You can't watch it manually. You want let me just go and trigger me out. That way I'm losing any money, right? So you said let's say 1%. So 1% of $1,000 is basically what, $10, right? So obviously the stock can easily pull back 1%, and that's fine. But you may say, well, I'm gonna give it a little cushion, right? Let's give it a little room where it may, if it pull back a little bit before it takes off, then I'll still be fine, right? So you may set your stop loss at what, 3%, right? So now you're talking the same 3% threshold, what they call plus minus ratio of 3% that you want to gain in terms of profit, or 3% you may be willing to lose in terms of what, on the downside. If that makes sense. So you have what they call an ATR range value of 60%, right? Meaning that's your window of opportunity of your threshold window, so to speak, or your channel, so to speak, right? So again, if it pulls back 3%, you lose $30. If it goes up 3%, you what? You gain 30. Now when it goes up to 3%, you can set what they call a trailing stop. Trailing stop meaning it can trail your profit in the short term forward. Meaning anything above 3% is what? Extra. So it just keep going. So if it goes above that 3%, let's say it runs up to 7%, your trail stop is what? At $1.03, right? You picked up 3%, right? I'm saying 3%, right? If it comes back down to 103, it'll automatically trigger and sell it for you and lock in your profit at $103 before I tell you that 3%. If that makes sense a little bit. I know it sounds like a lot, but I'm just trying to make it user friendly as much as possible, dumb it down. But again, we're gonna speak about this stuff so much to the point where it's gonna become like a law, right? Because that's how literally I have to learn it again over for years, watch it, and then it becomes like a value of law to me, right? So, but again, that's just giving you that parameter, so you'll be protected if you swing trade in the stock and you on the road or you busy, you away from your computer, laptop, cell phone, whatever. But extra capital. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense, you're still going to protect your money, right? So,
right.
again,
I
those
got
stop
you.
loss are golden. And sometimes we've had witnessed in some cases where a stop loss may get blown through. The stock might have been just moving too fast, right? It's overly liquid, and it won't even tell you to sell. But those are the anomaly cases where that happens because there's a lot of volume coming into that stock, be it to the upside or to the downside, right? So, but these are the things that we all have to deal with. There's no kind of 100% complete value or finite value in any kind of system when you're dealing with man-made items, so to speak, like robotics and so forth. Anything can fail. But again, we just want to make sure that we're on top of our game enough to know exactly how to protect ourselves in those moments, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I just hope that was a little bit helpful for you a little bit. Like I said, we're gonna go over it a lot more. So this is only kind of like the first month, for most of the people that's in the workshop that's kind of came in from the very beginning. But again, over these next 2 month sessions, we're gonna really touch a lot of this stuff hands on. Those indicators, those oscillators, trends, patterns, obviously, the basic stuff like candle, learning that stuff. And then, then on the back end, obviously, we deal with fundamentals. Fundamentals actually come on the back end. That's when you want to learn about the different, balance sheet values, how to, read, different forms, 10Ks, the 10Qs and Form Ds, 4D forms, all these, and that's just learning the more on the intricate side of how the company runs, the nuts and bolts, right? When they do a press release, they drop a form, right? A Form D or something like that, letting they updating their the investors that we dropping news about this, or we had a board of director change or something like that. So you'll learn that stuff on the very back end. The first part is learning how to do it, how to trade the market, what to look for, why you're looking at it, and things like that, so to speak. So
right.
Again, we're gonna get there, and like I say, this is a journey. As I say, on OJT, right? You like you right around, you're my age a little bit here, so we know what OJT, right?
Most definitely.
Training, but
that's right.
To us, it's gonna be OJ on the journey training, right? We on this journey. It's a journey, right? You trying to learn.
Hey, brother, I'm with you. I'm in this class. Do you kick me out?
No, we're here for the long haul because, like I say, when the sessions, even when the 3-month value is up, we still locked in at this point. Again, you know what I'm saying? Now you're gonna be trading with me, and we're gonna be in the Discord room. Obviously, I'm gonna set a Discord room up, so all you guys will come right on in, and because I got that kind of set in the timeline. I don't want to introduce you guys to none of the Discord room too early because I know it's a lot of different people in there, different opinions, and they can kind of take you off your psyche and so forth, what you learned thus far. Because your goal is it is with everybody else that I've been speaking about, is that you guys have to find a way to come into this on your own terms, of your own value, and how you value the market. You know what I'm saying? So to speak, where your comfort level, what I'm saying. Right, you got to find your own niche. What makes Sean comfortable in how he wants to trade it, because the way you trade the market may be different than the way, Sister Monica or Monica may trade, how, Sin Sean may trade, or the our brother, trade stocks or die trade, die trading, excuse me, how he may want to trade. So everybody in that moment. All right, 1 second. I got a little phone call. The center calling. 1 second, guys. I'm gonna share my screen. I'll be right back.
All right.
See. All right. Can you guys hear me? I'm back now. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Yeah, that was actually the doggone learning center where he's at on post. They calling me saying he got to look well, it's end of the day anyway. So I guess he waited all day. But a kid got sick. That's why I was messed up Thursday too. One of the kids got sick. They had a pajamas day. And you know how it is when you in the blue environment when everybody else child, and sick. I don't want to get into that, but y'all know my child vegan or whatever. Okay, so we do everything natural path value. And a lot of them kids in there kind of got some of the bad diets or heavy mucus and always sick. And one of them got sick and they had to kind of bleach out the room a little bit. And so it kind of messed up his little immune system when you had to smell that chlorine. So I noticed the other day he had something like a little slight temp, but it wasn't bad. So when we got home yesterday from the center, he was obviously having his natural little smooth and some little nuts in it. Then he kind of vomited a little bit. So that made me either the fumes or something got into him a little bit, and it turned the stomach, which obviously messed me up in terms of even the show yesterday, because I had to tend to him because it was all over the place, and then I had to bathe in it, all that other stuff, whatever. But again, so he got a little temper, so I'm really good to get out of here and go pick him up. They say he's at like 101, above that 99 level, whatever case. So, which ain't over the bag, like it's like 104, but still, that's the value when you're dealing with your kids. So that's the only thing I hate about these daycares. That's why I love when I had him near me, so you can kind of keep him away from all that. But ain't no way to really isolate him at this point. He has to still, build up a level of immunity on his own too. So, part of the whatever.
I feel you, brother. So handle your business, man. Do it.
No worries. Like I said, I was supposed to get out of here at 4 anyway. But I want to kind of answer that a little bit for you, because I know you was the only one, as I know now, that didn't get that Facebook, that kind of that information that we put in there, and also the live stream. So again, forgive me for that, brother. But I do know that now in the future, I think you're the only one thus far I know now that doesn't have it. So I know exactly to double back through the emails, and also if I have to message you or whatnot, whatever the case, you'll still have the availability to kind of make sure you're on top of it.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about that.
Okay, so, brother, I'm gonna get off here. So go ahead and
Go ahead, family. You there, brother Sean? Okay, yeah, you must have hit a bad area. Okay, yeah. So guys, that's been watching. Like I said in the back chat, I do appreciate you guys once again checking in with your brother. Like I said, I just want to jump on 30 minutes before the close. We stay a little extended like we always do. Y'all know how we are. We be having little parties. We have set a goal, go over a little bit. That's fine, right? It's all about in the love of learning and procuring good information and data to kind of put ourselves in the best situation to kind of keep flourishing under this knowledge, so to speak, right? Our level of how we value this in terms of our knowledge in this. So again, I appreciate you guys. Topping through, kind of hanging out with your brother, for the rest of the evening here. And I'm gonna get out here. Like I said, we'll get my little guy. So Uncle Jocelyn there, guys, power and profit to the family. Appreciate you guys coming and checking out with your brother here on this little kind of market recap going into the close. Well, excuse me, this is a market analysis going into the close, not necessarily a recap. I may get lucky and make a jump on a little bit later, when I get back in, if he ain't, overly bad, and just kind of touch on a little bit what the market did, from an overall perspective. Do a little analysis on, maybe spend a little time, 20, 30 minutes, hour, whatever. But we'll see. We gotta see how he's feeling pretty much. So again, appreciate you guys. Let me get out of here. Let me go get my little guy here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you guys.
All right, peace.
Peace, family. Peace, family.